Hey everyone, Lynne and Joseph with Salt Marsh Properties here, and we are just bringing you another video with some information that you will need if you're buying or selling a home here in the Charleston area. So today's topic is one that is actually pretty important to us as well as it should be to buyers in the market, and that is the issue of inspections. We get a lot of questions on home inspections and the do's and don'ts and all of that. So we just want to cover some topics on there because when you buy your home here in Charleston, there are a couple of inspections you may need. You may need what we call a CO 100, a sewer scope, a typical home inspection, a crawl space inspection, maybe your HVAC, mold testing. Those are just some of the areas that you would get inspected. And so we just want to talk about the do's and don'ts and ins and outs of it.
And the CL 100 is for termites and any sort of wood rot or moisture. So that CL 100 is the term they use. Okay, so let's define what an inspection is. When I first got started, I heard a great description of it to think about it as a 1, 3, 5-year plan. So when you're buying a home, you want to know what might need to be addressed immediately that you can probably work out during the terms of the contract, right? Or inside the contract time frame. Then you might have a 3, 5-year plan because home ownership requires maintenance and funds to do it, right? So just be aware that that inspection is going to get you educated on right now and then 10 years from now.
Yeah. And a few reasons as to why an inspection is important. And it really isn't to answer whether or not you should get one. A lot of people would default to that. But the importance of an inspector. And the first one is our hidden reasons, right? There are a lot of hidden issues in the house that you wouldn't even always be visible or even take into consideration. So a good inspector will help you uncover those.
Yeah, and they have all different kind of gadgets and tools now where they can see behind the walls and things like that. So that's really important. Now keep in mind, wherever you live, you have a unique climate, you have a unique how your ground is made up, right? So Charleston has those unique things as well. The moisture, we have sandy soil. So the coastal climate in general creates somewhat of a unique set of conditions as a house ages. And that's what you're going to need to talk to that inspector with to find out they're familiar with those.
Yeah. Another one is to protect your investment, right? A lot of times, and also keep in mind when things come up, as a quick side note, when things come up in an inspection, the seller may not even known about it, right? And a lot of times that is the case. And the way to protect your investment is with a good inspector. If things come up, it can help you with your negotiation. You can negotiate some repairs in there, maybe a reduction of the price or some sort of credit at closing to help with those.
Right. You want to make sure that what you know is coming is you're familiar with it now and it aligns with what you're looking for, right? Yeah. And then the builder warranty. So if you have a new home, right, a new construction, I always recommend a pre-drywall inspection. Yeah. So you're really seeing what's behind the walls. And then sometimes if you choose, you can rely on the builder inspections right before the final, but that pre-drywall is crucial, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Another one is peace of mind, right? A lot of times, the point of an inspection isn't necessarily to make sure the house is perfect.
Right.
It's to help you determine whether or not you feel comfortable with the house that you're buying. And it gives you peace of mind that there hopefully will not be any big issues with the home. And then if you do know of the issues, the inspector can kind of help walk you through really how bad those are. And if it's something that would look like, going back to Lynn's example of the 135 plan.
Education is key to taking away any fear or any sort of emotion, and that's super important.
Yeah.
So also now we're going to talk about who to pick. Like, how do you pick that home inspector? Okay. So first of all, you want to make sure that they know the Charleston area or have been working with a team who has been teaching them and educating them about those unique conditions we talked about.
Yeah, 100%. And the other one is an inspector that gives you a kind of clear, detailed reporting, but also know that a great inspector isn't going to overwhelm you, right? Now, there are different types of personalities. Me, bullet points, less is more. Some more detailed people would want a detailed report, which most inspectors will provide. And then additionally, what it's like to be at the inspection with them because they can help walk you through some of the things. And actually, a lot of inspectors will help kind of give you some ideas for home maintenance and long-term preservation of the property.
And a good question to ask a home inspector is, are they still going to be available to help you once the home closes? The inspectors I use say, call me anytime repairs come up to make sure that I, as a neutral party, will say, yes, that's needed based on what we remember about the house. And those reports have the photos, they have all the things that they can go back and reference. So communication from the inspector is super important at the inspection and then after you close.
Yeah. And always, it's important to know that you get to choose the inspector, but we encourage you to shop on reputation, right? And the inspector you get. And don't just choose on price base alone, right? Just because they're least expensive doesn't necessarily mean they're the best. So just make sure that when you're researching inspectors, obviously we have a list of inspectors that we have great experience with that we give you. Should you go to choose on your own, that's just something to keep in mind there. And then the last part we talked about, I touched a little bit on attendance, is a lot of times, buyers will want to attend the inspection, which is totally fine. You can also choose kind of what your preference is there. Sometimes the inspector will have a preference. What we found that's most helpful a lot of times is when you come to the inspection is maybe you just come to the end of it, right? Or you come to the last few minutes of it or last 30 minutes of it. And then the inspector is always open to have you there whenever you want to be there, but just attend it because they can walk you through everything that they're finding and then again give you some good advice on it.
Yes, exactly. And any sort of inspection at the end of the day, it's going to give you clarity, it's going to give you confidence, and it's going to give you protection.
Yeah.
And it gives you what the details are now that you might say to a seller, hey, here are some things we found. So you then take that inspection and you go talk about it with the seller and you find a win-win for both of them, right? The buyer and the seller. So we always recommend it. Very rarely do we skip an inspection. And if you can't make it as the buyer, I'm always trying to make it and attend it so that I can be someone who learns and then gets you on the phone with the inspector. So there are multiple ways you can go about it, but it's crucial, we think, to the whole home buying process. So I think that covers a lot of the points, right?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. And if you have any, if you need any recommendations, if you're already down the road in the process and you need an inspector at this point, please reach out. We are happy to recommend inspectors with whom we have great experiences. Or if you have any questions about anything we talked about today, we're glad to help.
Yeah, we would love to help you in anything buying or selling in Charleston. Hope you guys have a great week.
Take care.